Okay. All right. So to introduce myself, my name is Devin Spencer. I'm the Hatchery and Production Director at the Cultured Abalone Farm in Santa Barbara, California. I have a master's degree in environmental science and coastal resources, and then also a certificate in informal science education. So this project was kind of a passion project for me, and I got to pull in a bunch of our local um, collaborators, and it was really an incredible passion project that I was really excited to implement over the last year and a half. So our partners were Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History Sea Center. It's a small aquarium here in Santa Barbara. NOAA Southwest Fisheries Science Center. They served a little more of an advisory role. And then Santa Barbara High School was our main school that we worked with in our project. So in our project, we had a three-part program. The first part was to introduce high school students to aquaculture. So we created a unit of instruction, and I worked with the teacher at Santa Barbara High School. He has a marine science class. We worked together to create a unit of instruction for the high schoolers. And then we would bring those students on a tour to the abalone farm. And the unit of instruction was focused on aquaculture, but it was using abalone as the like species of example for aquaculture. And then our second goal was to educate informal educators about aquaculture. So we partnered with Santa Barbara Sea Center. They have a public-facing docent role. And so we brought them to the farm to teach them about aquaculture and how it's important so that they could communicate that to the general public. And then our third goal was to update the Sea Center's abalone exhibit to highlight aquaculture. So they raise white abalone, which is an endangered abalone, and they're part of the White Abalone Restoration Project. And so we wanted to help them update their exhibit to show how much how much of a role aquaculture plays in that restoration. So our audiences, Santa Barbara High School students in the marine science class, the Santa Barbara Sea Center staff and volunteers, and then through the Sea Center, the general public. So what did we achieve? Like I said, our first was to develop a unit of instruction and farm tour program with Santa Barbara High School. We did that. Our original plan was to do 2 sets for each semester of the classes. We actually ended up doing 3 tours, and we got to have 3 sets of classes at the farm. So we did that. And then our program kind of got out around town, and we actually ended up with 5 different schools visiting us and going through the program. A couple from Santa Barbara County. We had a school from Dana Point come and visit us. And then we had a couple of high school summer education programs participate in our unit of instruction and tour program as well. So that was pretty exciting. Our second goal was to teach the Sea Center staff and volunteers about aquaculture. It was also really popular, and we ended up having all of their staff and volunteers visit us. And we also had their development team and a lot of their board of directors come and visit us as well. So it was really fun to get to teach them about aquaculture and have them share that with their community that they teach. And then the third goal was to reimagine the Sea Center's White Abalone exhibit to highlight aquaculture. And they made this beautiful exhibit. It has pictures from the farm, and it talks about how aquaculture is helping restore the endangered white abalone to the ocean. So what were our challenges and opportunities? We thankfully didn't face very many challenges. Our biggest challenge was turnover with personnel in terms of who I was working with our partners. And we had a couple of turnovers, so I had to work with new people on where we were in the project with the Sea Center, but it wasn't really a big deal. The transitions were really smooth, and everyone was super excited about the project. So what I'm saying is it went off pretty smoothly. And then our opportunities, we were, the connection we made with the Sea Center was so great. And I'm so excited to continue to develop that relationship with them. They've been such a help to us in times of need in the last year, and we've had a lot of fun working with them with their white abalone. And then also working with Santa Barbara High School. I've already started planning new activities and ideas with the professor. So those connections that we've got to develop that we probably wouldn't have pursued if it weren't for this grant have been a really meaningful part of what we've gotten out of this program. So what's up next? As I said, I'm continuing my collaborations with the Sea Center and Santa Barbara High School. I'm hoping that we can expand the program to other high schools. There is Bodega Marine Lab up in Bodega Bay who do the white abalone restoration project. And I have a couple of people up there who are interested in implementing the unit of instruction in their high schools and then hopefully doing tours of Bodega Marine Lab. And then the same with Southwest Fisheries Science Center. So we're hoping to kind of expand the program throughout the state. And then this program has encouraged us at the farm to develop our own public tour program. It's not something we've ever really offered, but we have a lot of interest. And this high school program allowed us to really develop good ways and bad ways of giving the tours and the flow and all of that. And so it's really exciting to have those tools to move forward with something that people have been asking for so many years. And with that, does anybody have any questions?
So Devin, Mary Meyer is asking, are your lessons on aquaculture anywhere online?
Yes, so they are in the one of the shared drives for the NOAA grant. They could still use a little bit of work, but they are there. And we're still working on developing different activities like labs that go along with each unit of instruction.
And for those that aren't within the grantee community, we are putting together resources that were created from this grant opportunity, and we will be sharing them with broader audience groups for their use as well.
Devin, I have a question. What was your student engagement like? Whether you were running the tours or working with the students, were they kind of mostly excited to be there, or were some of them kind of just I'm along for the ride kind of thing?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. You know, they're high schoolers, so you have the ones that are really, really engaged, and you have the ones who are just poking each other. But yeah, for the most part, they were really engaged. For the high school tours with Santa Barbara High School, they were able to choose to come to the tour. They weren't required to go. It was more the students that were required to be there just because that was what they were doing that day. Those were the ones that weren't necessarily participating as much. But I actually even got a couple of volunteers and interns out of the program, which has been really awesome.
So we have another question in the chat box from Tamar Kuna. I hope I had said your name right. Sorry if I didn't. So if a teacher were to be interested in an aquaculture facility like yours in a different region, what would be the best way for them to develop a relationship like this one?
Oh, that's a good question. Aquaculture is kind of funny, at least in my experience. We're a little bit abrasive and we don't love making connections sometimes. At least here in California, it's that way. So I would just reach out to them and ask them if they have any educational programs. And if they don't, ask them if they're interested in developing one, because you never know who's there.
So Tanoya is asking, how did the word get out with other schools? Did you use any surveys to gather feedback for future tours or programs? Anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how it got out about our tours. There was a article in the Santa Barbara newspaper, but I'm not sure how Dana Point found out. But I have done like lectures and stuff down at the aquarium in Dana Point. So maybe there was a connection there. And then, yes, I did take surveys pre and post student visits about the tours. So I have that information to help me build better tours in the future.
So Richard Smalden is asking from the Sea Center perspective, I think it's a compliment. From the Sea Center perspective, it was a fantastic learning opportunity for staff volunteers, and we are looking forward to continuing collaboration. And that was from their Sea Center partners for the grant. So great job, Devin.
Truly the biggest thing that we got out of this was the connection with the Sea Center. We had a crazy flooding a few weeks ago, and they actually volunteered their staff to come help us save abalone. So I've been very, very, very grateful for the connections that we've got to make.
That's amazing. That's just a testament to how great it is to connect within your community. Well, if there's no other questions, we can move on to the next and final presentation today, which is